Hey y'all, welcome to my page, and we're gonna make a cake. I'm cooking supper tonight, but let's do the cake first. I'm gonna do a pineapple upside down cake. How are y'all been today? Yeah, I thought we was over the rain, but it got clouded a while ago and started thundering. And I'm using a French vanilla cake mix. Okay, I'm using a cup of milk instead of water, but I'm not going to use all of it because I'm going to use some pineapple juice. That's enough. And I'm using a half a cup of butter melted instead of oil. And doing 4 eggs instead of what the box calls for 3. I just got back from vacation a few days ago. I went to California. So we got everything in there, so let's mix it up. Uh-oh. There. Okay, we gotta melt a stick of butter in this pan, I forgot. I have my oven preheated to 350. Maybe it won't take long. Okay, y'all. Let's make a pineapple upside down cake. And my video I was recording, but something happened, so I'm going to show you what I've done so far. I put a stick of butter in here, melted it. Then I put brown sugar and pineapple slices. And I've mixed up a French vanilla cake with a little over a half a cup of milk, and I finished it off with pineapple juice, 4 eggs, and instead of oil I used a half a cup of melted butter. So let's pour this in there. And I've preheated the oven to 350. always tout my cakes a little bit to get the air bubbles, but that's not. And we'll put in the oven for probably about 35 minutes. I'm cooking supper for my kids tonight. And in my Instant Pot, I have northern beans. I've had them on probably about 10 minutes. And I'm doing smothered deer steak, fried potatoes, northern beans, cornbread, and I think I'm going to do some broccoli, frozen broccoli. But let's start peeling some potatoes. How many likes fried potatoes? I was raised up on fried potatoes. Y'all, the ones that's got your garden, how's your garden coming along? Mine's growing good. Yesterday evening, after the sun kind of hid behind the clouds and wasn't coming out, I was watering. So I watered the one over here by my trailer, and then I walked over to where the other garden is by my son's. When I was walking by, I walked up on a snake, which I think it was a rat snake. It was a long one. It was probably that long. I left it alone, but I watched it. Dog walked right by it, my neighbor's dog. Never saw it. I couldn't get my dog Fifi to come over to me, and I think that was because she's afraid she's going to get sprayed with the water hose, because I'll spray her every once in a while. So she chose to stay over there. My son said, though, it could have been a water moccasin. I sure hope it wasn't. But I didn't kill it. I sprayed it with the water hose and it went back in the woods. But I got some sulfur granules I've got to get put out. That's the first snake like that I've seen in my yard since I've been here, and I've been here about 3 years in this spot. It's when I moved my trailer. I think it's been about 3 years this year. So that's not good to see a snake. Not for me. And my yard needs to be mowed again. And I mow it as low as I can so we can see them crawling on the ground if they're out there. I wouldn't turn the water off though, because after seeing that snake I was scared, because it done got dusty dark by the time I got through. So I told my son when they got home he better go turn his water hose off. I'll put fried onions in my potatoes to cook. Some people use a potato peeler. I can't use one. I'm used to using a knife, and I'm using a rod knife. They are good. My daughter uses a potato peeler, and I said, Heather, so why are you using that? I said, you wasn't raised by a potato peeler. Not like that anyway. I can't use a knife. So she just must watch me peel instead of her peeling as she was a kid growing up. My son's here. Come on in. I'm going to pause this. So he brought me some groceries that I got to cook. Okay, y'all. I'm back. Sorry. We're going to slice these potatoes and get them ready. I'm going to put some oil in my pan so it can be getting warm, hot. How do y'all slice y'all's? I was raised slicing them long, slicing the potato about 3 times and making it look like that. But I have done it other ways too. I've washed my potatoes already. Y'all, let me tell you, I've been out to California probably about 5 times now, visiting my aunt and cousin, and this trip with American Airlines is the first time I've ever had problems. I was supposed to fly out about 4-ish that one day. They changed the gate, canceled. Well, first they changed the gate twice, and then they ended up canceling the flight to 5 o'clock the next morning with they was going to put us in a motel and a meal voucher. So we get in line to redo our stuff. I get up there, they tell me I don't qualify for a motel or a meal voucher. I said, why? Because you live here. I said, I don't live here. This is in Dallas. And she kept on putting me there. I said, I don't live here. I live in Arkansas, which is 4 hours from here. But I guess the reason I didn't is because I wasn't from another flight that flew in, that I'm flying directly out of there, but still I'm 4 hours from home. It's not like I can run back home and then run back to catch the flight at 5 o'clock in the morning when it's around 8:15, in between 8 and 8:30. Me and this other lady, we decided we wasn't going to go to the motel before we knew this. We was going to hang out at the airport, because the time we got up there and got situated and got to the motel, you was going to have to turn around and come back. You wouldn't have but a couple of hours. Then you're going to take a chance of oversleeping. But when I got up there and she told me that, she said, well, I got one seat left on a 10:30 flight. So I took it. It meant the people that was picking me up were later getting out, and the one that was driving, he had to work the next day. I hated that. Then coming back, get to Fresno Airport. I pre-check in and I walk up to where you're supposed to go through security, and had this lady that worked for Fresno Airport Well, I tell you didn't read the signs because you wouldn't be standing here in front of me if you did. Real rude. And I was so overwhelmed, I was like, I just knew I was supposed to come here to get my stuff checked. And she kept on and she kept on. And she said, well, I hope you don't drive like you read signs. And then when she pointed to where to go, which I knew where I was going, I said, gotcha. And then she said real hateful, no, you don't either. So I got in her face and I said, what'd you say? I said, what did you say? She just looked at me. I told her to have a blessed day and be more pleasant. But I reported her and they supposed to talk to her, which I kind of doubt they did. But I'm still calling Fresno Airport back. Ends up, I had to stay another night in Fresno because they canceled the flight. All incoming flights to Dallas. So I stayed another night, went back to Fresno the next day, Fresno Airport the next day to catch my flight. I was kind of hoping she was there because I was going to go back through her line. That's how nice I am. But anyway, we get to Dallas. We start circling the airport. Then they say the weather won't let us land. So we're going to have to go to Oklahoma City. So we sit on the tarmac at Oklahoma City for about 2 hours, maybe 2.5, before we could fly back to Dallas and land. And the people that was picking me up in my truck, they had been waiting on me for 4 hours. So we get unloaded off the plane. I get there. We have to go way down here to get our luggage, they said. And get down there, you have to go back to the other way a good bit to get your luggage. They done changed it. So I finally got my luggage and we get gone. Have to pay $12 to get out of the airport. $3 an hour to sit in that airport with your vehicle. When they said it used to be like $3 a day just a few years ago. But I made it home, made it back to their house, and I left and I made it back to my house at 3 o'clock in the morning because I had to work the next day. But anyway, that was my experience with American Airlines in Dallas, Fort Worth Airport. I will fly out of Love's Airport next time. They say it's a lot better, which first time I ever went, I did, but that's the first time I've ever flown. I didn't know anything about the airports, and they used to not be that way. But they said the Uber drivers are even complaining about how bad the American Airlines is getting on canceling flights, changing gates, this and that. People that is using Uber is telling them all this, and they mainly pick up people from out of state like Florida and stuff and take them to their destination. And anyway, that's my story. Okay, y'all, we're fixing to fry some potatoes. See if my skillet's hot enough. Ugh, needs to be hotter. So let's cut up this onion while it heats up. This is a Vidalia onion. Okay, let's put some pepper, y'all. And some salt. This is pink salt, Himalayan. And we're going to put a lid on this. And let them cook. And now we're going to do deer steak, y'all. Got some flour. Ain't got no room in a mobile home, I'll tell y'all that right now. Let's scoot y'all up a little bit. Okay. Garlic powder. Let's just use crudo. Stir this around a little bit. And what we're going to do, I'm going to smother it, but I've got to flour it and fry it just a little bit. Then I'll show you how I smother it. Oh, that's 2 pieces there, y'all. Put some flour on top of there. I'm going to put some paper towel in my potato pan because I'm going to have to bring this back out. Excuse me, y'all. You only want to brown it a little bit. This deer meat is the way it's processed. It's almost like huge steak. I know some people don't like deer meat. I worked with this lady. She didn't like deer meat, and I made chili and took it to work. She told me that's the best chili she's ever had. Guess what it was made with? Deer meat. Deer hamburger meat. She loved it, and she was always asking me to bring chili. I didn't tell her what I made it with either. Still can't. Stir these potatoes a little bit. Now there's the potatoes. Okay, let's do it better, y'all. There's my potatoes and my deer steak. You want to make a good little crust, so that's what's going to make the gravy, is the crust. Check our tape. And get ready, y'all. Ready. Okay, y'all, so now we're going to put this deer steak back in the skillet that it fried in, which is that right there. So I'm going to turn it down. And what I'm going to do, make sure it's laying as flat as can be. You're going to want to cover it with water. So I'll cover it with the lid. And here's my potatoes. I got my broccoli over there. So we will be back. Y'all, we got supper going good, and now the cake is done. So we're going to dump it out, or see if we're going to attempt to dump it out. Let's put it that way. Oh, it turned out. Little corner got messed up. Y'all, there's that pineapple upside down cake. Didn't have no cherries to put on it, but it'll be all right. A little corner stuck on it. That'll be all right too. We're gonna taste it, the corner. Y'all, that's good. That's one of my son's favorite recipes, is my pineapple upside down cake, which is pretty good. So I'm gonna check my beans. They went off before I go. Let that steam off. I knew that was going to do it. It froze. Do y'all ever forget to drink? I do. I don't think about it. I can go all day and not drink. Still ain't off enough. Okay, y'all, I got my plate. Supper's ready, so I'm fixing to plate up a plate, and I'll show you what we're having. Got a good old pan of cornbread here. Y'all, and here it is. Deer steak, northern beans, cornbread. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. And broccoli and cheese. Let me go down some. So let's try it. Piece of deer steak is good, y'all. You know it's going to be. And some potatoes. Real good. Northern beans is my best favorite almost. Homemade cornbread turned out real well, and I got some of the butter on it that I made with heavy whipping cream. It's good. Y'all have a blessed night and be safe wherever y'all at.